as we move on to SmackDown, which is, as it usually is, a nice, fair show with some decent wrestling, and
if done in a half-empty arena.
Yeah. Well, that's just because NXT pretty much scares everyone away, but...
I really think it's weird because the SmackDown show seems to have more content than any other show because they do the Superstars taping for it, and they do NXT, and then they do SmackDown. That's 3 shows. I mean, it's 2 Superstars matches, that hour or whatever of NXT, and then you have SmackDown. Granted, people are sold by the fact that it's a SmackDown show rather than, oh, look, NXT's here. Or you get to also be in a Superstars taping. But I would have to imagine that there's more... There's more content in that, but yet nobody goes anyway.
And actually, a theory that I have is that whenever you see the crowd cam footage of these half-empty SmackDown tapings, I really do think that once everyone's in, they just usher everyone to the side that the camera is going to be filming. Because
it's possible, but
there's no way that everyone that's in that arena bought tickets for only one side of the building.
Well, right, it's possible, but the fact is there's also WWE has also been caught reusing old footage of crowds.
Yeah. I noticed that when I was watching it earlier today. There was shots that I'd seen on a couple of past SmackDowns.
Oh well.
We start out with the SmackDown Superstars in the surrounding the first quarter of the ring, because there's not enough people on SmackDown to surround the whole ring. And
they went on to a little bit of the entrance area.
They listen to Johnny Ace, and he's the only one in the ring for now. And he tells us that he's the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations. And Triple H is not here tonight, yet. And he says that Triple H has lost total control of Raw, and it culminated in the dismissal of The Miz and R-Truth. And then he sort of immediately changes his mind, and he says, despite 10 seconds ago saying that Triple H has lost all control, he says Triple H has things under control.
Didn't you know?
I don't know. I'm not Johnny Ace. I'm not the one that writes these promos.
Oh, I thought you were the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations.
Just because I do his voice doesn't mean that I am him.
That's not even close, which is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like a smoker.
I've not smoked enough yet to get
he sounds like a smoker, not like Barney.
I'm John Laurinaitis.
Hey there, kids. That's my bowling.
That would be extremely scary. John Laurinaitis dressed up as Barney.
He welcomes he welcomes Mark Henry to the ring and congratulates him on the championship. For some reason, of all people, Mark Henry targets Zeke Jackson when he says, "Oh, you didn't believe." Did he have a match with him beforehand? I forgot.
I think he had a few matches with Ahmed Johnson in the 90s, and maybe he thought that Ezekiel Jackson was him.
You might be right. But
then he says that Teddy Long didn't believe either, because nothing says true world champion like belittling your boss.
Teddy.
Then Triple H comes out, and the Superstars part this Red Sea again. Hunter offers the hand, and he refuses.
And Mark Henry doesn't follow the code of honor.
Yeah, and it takes a good minute for him to give them the microphone, and right before Triple H is about to say something, enter Christian.
Go!
Yeah, Christian basically does the heel thing of acting arrogant, putting himself over very, very huge, saying that Mark Henry doesn't represent the company well as a champion. Can you see his face on its billboard on his cereal box?
It would take
yes, that I would want to buy. I would want to buy a box of Mark Henry branded cereal.
Can you see him
strongest O's
to school children?
That would be the greatest thing I've ever seen. Is Mark Henry reading to little children, reading My Pet Goat to the children.
I personally want to buy a box of Mark Henry's World's Strongest O's with little little weight-shaped marshmallows in it.
The world's flakiest man.
The world's strongest flakes.
Well, see, I wouldn't want to buy it because it would be drenched in sweat and all other kinds of clear liquid.
Yes. Now coming,
it comes with a free picture of his sweat, so you can pour it in there.
Oh,
that's a liquid.
Think about.
That's the milk. It comes in a sweat flavor. Salty.
But yeah, basically, Christian talks about being a leader, leading by example, and I should be if I'm to be a leader, I should be the world champion. So give me one more match against even though he never had it. Well, he did have a match against Mark Henry, which he won. But
crazy.
And then Triple H gives him his match for later tonight in a lumberjack match.
So Roster, you're gonna need to stay ringside for the entire fucking show. But
and after this, Christian walks out, and he's like, everyone's looking at him with looks of disdain. Then we cut backstage to Sheamus, and he's getting ready for match. Go to commercial.
Getting ready to tell his Irish folktale.
Yes, about his uncle's testicle. And then match number 1, Sheamus versus the one-man rock band, as much as I hate that fucking term.
No.
One-man Southern rock band.
Ugh. Fucking.
And as Michael Cole puts this match over, it's Ronald McDonald versus the girl from Wendy's.
What? What the hell, Michael Cole?
It's a perfect analogy.
Sometimes I wonder where Michael Cole...
Actually, Arrow, I'm wondering, why... If you request a Rule 63 of Heath Slater, why don't you just get a picture of the girl from Wendy's?
I don't know. I didn't request that.
I don't believe you.
No, I definitely did not request that.
Okay.
I hate Heath Slater in all shapes, all forms. I cannot stand his existence.
Heath Slater, you hate him.
This fire burns always with a passion of 1,000 suns towards the hatred of Heath Slater.
Quick, someone play the Killswitch song. Yeah. Then, Slater gets the jobber entrance as usual, because no one ever really expects Heath Slater to win. I'm pretty sure you could put him up against Hornswoggle and he'd still get a jobber entrance.
Did he get a jobber entrance? Because I thought they showed his little introduction thing, and it had a little lame-ass guitar and stars revolving.
And he did
SmackDown, you get custom entrance bars.
And he did his
whole... He got a jobber entrance, but he still had his little specialized nameplate.
You know what facet I especially hate about Heath Slater is that he's essentially a poor man's D'Lo Brown with his ring pose.
The poor man's white, skinny, chest protectorless D'Lo.
Yeah.
Ooh. Out comes King Miracle Whip himself, Sheamus, and this was okay, I guess.
It was a good match.
It's good. It was Sheamus, and he always puts on a good match.
Yeah, Slater's functional enough also, and the only thing I did notice was that Sheamus, when he pounds his chest to pose, very serious look on his face. When he went to bro kick Heath Slater, his eyes just bulged the fuck out. Like he was starting to go on full crazy mode. It's completely snap. But,
Then after this match, we get Christian. Hold on a sec, the echo.
Echo.
I know. Check. Fuck. Test. Fuck!
Get some headphones, bro.
Now you're echoing.
No, that can't be me, because I've got headphones on.
I heard an echo from someone.
It wasn't me. Might have been Chris. Oh,
whatever.
Wasn't actually...
I'm not echoing anymore, so let's move on.
Great Khali is being manipulated by Christian.
Great Khali got so over with this segment.
Yes. He says, would Khali want to face the man who took out Kane in the Big Show? Or someone smaller like Christian? Do you understand me? Khali says, I understand. You are small. And everyone but Christian gets the joke.
And then he holds up his hand and just kind of like shows an inch or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't understand a word Khali was saying anyway. When he tried to say Wade Barrett last year, it ended up sounding like Bad Barry.
No!
Why are you doing a Schwarzenegger grunt for him?
Because that's what he sounds like.
That'd be giving Khali too much credit. That birth defect fucker.
You know, his face looks like a banana peel. It looks like a banana because his chin is kind of like, it juts out so far, and then his face, it goes all concave.
The world's least ripe banana.
Hey, he's one of those dark bananas, you know, that are like really expensive.
Yeah. Next up, Wade Barrett versus Justin Gabriel, with Justin's mediocre music and Wade's slightly okay music.
Yeah,
Justin Gabriel was a lot.
Justin Gabriel had some decent music. Yeah, they stole his music. I wonder how that went over. Like, I wonder if Justin just did not like that theme, or like Otunga Cuddy just muscled in on his territory.
Yeah, Otunga used his click powers.
Yeah, ugh.
He's dead. He's in reverse. He has the cerebral nature of Triple H, the body of John Cena, and the charisma of The Rock. So, yes, that's exactly.
Google him.
That describes him to a T.
I know.
This match was way too short.
Average, yeah. Gabriel was a good wrestler. He did his good spots, but Barrett won.
You know what the weird thing is? When I was watching this on YouTube earlier today, there was a comment on the video that I didn't really have much of an opinion of because I was saving it for here. Someone said that Justin Gabriel's moveset is just a ripoff of Rob Van Dam, which is...
I was kind of thinking something like that, but then I thought it was a little different. Yeah,
let's see. Rob Van Dam does not do a blind salt. He does not do a roaring elbow. He's done a 450, but he doesn't do one.
He hasn't done a 450 in a long time.
Wrong time? Me rub you wrong time?
Well, probably since you actually wrestled Too Cold Scorpio, but... But anyway, Barrett wins with a wasteland, and Barrett gets a win over Justin Gabriel, which they're probably not going to put over next week and really mention. Because Wade Barrett just does things, and they don't impact anything at all.
This is the man that got John Cena fired last year, ladies and gentlemen.
Not so you'd notice it.
Commercial, then we come back, and then Matt Strikers with the Orton-Tron 9000. And Orton, in his wonderful Frankenstein tone, responds to Matt's question of, do you have any comments on your match with Mark Henry at Night of Champions? No. Then he says, I'm thinking about going to hell, but like the song says, hell ain't no bad place to be. Other than completely getting the name of the song wrong, it's hell ain't a bad place to be. He will drag Mark Henry to hell. It's a good place if you're going to be world champion again. Maybe Christian will come with me. He says that Christian has a permanent place there, and when I come from hell, I will have the World Heavyweight Championship. Then Michael Cole says that Orton has been in 3 Hell in a Cell matches, even though none of them were really all that good.
Yeah, he's won 2 of them, one of which was the Sheamus Orton match, which blew.
And the other was the John Cena Orton match, which sucked. And then the Undertaker Orton match, which was one of the most underwhelming Hell in a Cell matches since Big Boss Man versus Undertaker. Orton is not very good at Hell in a Cell, apparently.
Nothing really he could do.
Yeah.
I mean, the most extreme thing that happened in the Hell in a Cell match the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view last year, other than Morrison jumping off the stage, was when Sheamus got RKO'd on the steps.
No, you know what it was? When Sheamus fucking put his foot on the step and did the Irish Curse backbreaker.
Yeah.
That's so much to the move.
But there was that RKO that had Orton do the little back tick, which was weird.
Oh, you mean the Orton spasms?
Yeah.
Yeah, Christian's now trying to lobby Ezekiel Jackson to help him in the lumberjack match. Who cares?
Yeah.
AJ Lee and Caitlyn versus Beth Phoenix and Natalya.
Anything with AJ Lee I like. Mainly because of the fact that for some reason she can pull off plaid tights really, really well.
But, yeah, it's a decent match, and it's not completely squash either. Caitlyn doesn't really do much, and that's fine with me because she's terrible.
She still looks like a hot mess, too.
Yeah.
Still on NXT season 2.
3,
whatever. 2, 3. Nobody even won season 2 anymore.
Yeah, nobody won.
Let's see, who's the most successful winner of NXT? Wade Barrett. And that's not very successful.
Yeah, Johnny Curtis ain't that successful. You could say that he's a complete failure.
Being the winner of NXT is being in the same category as being the winner of the Diva Search.
Well, then you go to A, and get paid like $250,000.
Yes, but then they get usually underutilized and then released.
Christy Hemme, you're complaining about her getting underutilized?
But maybe I'm thinking of Tough Enough maybe as well, because most of the Tough Enough winners have not been very successul at all.
Well, Jackie Gata just sucks. Maven also sucks.
The only Matt Cappotelli was gonna come up probably
John Morrison's great.
8 or 9 times. Yeah, Matt Cappotelli was gonna come up to the main roster probably 8 or 9 times, but he kept getting hurt. Then he got brain cancer.
Yes, Rob Holly gave him a brain tumor. I'm kidding. It's just Bob Holly was known for really bullying him, apparently.
Bob Holly is just a bully.
He is, yeah.
That's all he is.
Yeah. Natalya and Beth Phoenix win, and then...
Though AJ gets to do the Shining Wizard.
Yes, which Booker T calls a Shining Wizard, and then Josh Matthews immediately calls afterward a running leg kick.
Well, see, the thing about the Shining Wizard is that's not even a Shining Wizard because there's no step up. It's a Shining Apprentice.
No, a Shining Apprentice is an Enziguri. It's a ground Enziguri.
Regardless, it's a cool move, and why Josh Matthews just called it a running leg kick right afterwards. Ugh.
Because she's stupid. I mean, E. Oh, I thought I was talking about Jack Carpella.
Jack Carpella is like,
he's the poor man Scott Stanford.
He's not even like the poor man, he's just like, I don't know.
He's the homeless man Scott Stanford. He's the homeless man Scott Stanford.
He's not even homeless looking, he's just like, he's ambiguous. He's like gender ambiguous.
Yeah, he looks kind of like an alien. In his figure.
It's weird, man.
And then, next up, we get the obvious match of the night for reasons after the match that happened, wherein Randy Orton makes Cody Rhodes live up to the Dusty Rhodes family tradition.
Yeah, and he bleeds his ass like a stuck pig, but nonetheless, this match was good, as they always are. I don't agree with the fact that they needed to beat it into our heads. The fact that they wrestled in the first place was a great rub for Cody, but, he needs to be doing some more shit.
And especially, even though the beating that Cody got after the match really put Orton over, because Orton really needs to be put over even more.
Definitely.
Obviously. The thing that kind of annoys me is that they fed Cody Rhodes, the Intercontinental Champion, to Randy Orton.
I don't consider that a bad thing. I mean, hierarchically, it should, the Intercontinental Champion should usually be fed to the World Champion unless he's significantly over.
Unless this is the 90s.
Yeah, unless he's Warrior.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, this beating was grisly. It was kind of dulled a little because for some reason Orton felt that after the DQ he had to do his DDT, he had to do some of his other spots, but he takes off his mask and he just starts beating him on the face with it, and
He really stips him.
Yeah, he makes such an innocuous implement look quite like you'd imagine like he was trying to go for like this huge scratch. But nonetheless, it was if anyone's seen the video of Benzai acting like a French snob, and Phalos gives him a baguette, and then he disturbingly beats Phalos with it because it's a poor American XP. That's what it reminded me of. It was just very uncomfortable and very disturbing, but in a good way.
Yes, and then Orton throws Rhodes out of the ring, goes out to the ring bell, picks up the ring bell, and hits Cody Rhodes.
He hits the ring bell a couple times.
He goes like
harder. He hits Rhodes with the ring bell harder than The Rock ever hit Mankind with it. And he hits
or Savage or Steamboat hit Savage.
Yeah, and he doesn't hit him with the board side of it either. He whacks him with the bell side.
He gets his bell rung.
Ha ha ha. And the other thing is that before that they played up Orton's crazy nature by having him just manically whack the ring bell with the microphone. And then he hits him, and then Rhodes is opened up hard way, and the referees try to wipe it up, but they fail.
Oh, you can't wipe up that much blood.
Yeah. And actually, now I remember now. They tried strategically the camera placing to make it to not show Cody Rhodes' face as much as possible, and then during the replay they cut to a side shot where you can see all the blood coming out of his head.
Yeah, and you could see the blood on the floor, you could see the blood on the table. They couldn't hide it.
There was just too much. You know, I keep saying,
they threw the towel over his head too.
Yeah, and of course, Orton, the table no-sold Orton again.
I think that was intentional, though.
I don't care. It was funny.
Oh no, it is definitely funny.
Yeah, I keep saying that since WWE has moved a bit away from the super PG stuff and has gotten more hardline PG-13 as of late, that during one of these big match situations, there could be blood.
Pay-per-view.
There will be blood.
Yeah,
no, their first pay-per-view with blood will be called Bad Blood. They're gonna bring back Bad Blood. I know it. It's gonna be that corny.
When I was watching Triple H versus Punk, I predicted beforehand that there may be a blade spot in the match because I felt that it had that intensity and that big match feel to it. And
perhaps we'll see it at Hell in a Cell or Vengeance.
Yeah, and I predicted the same thing about Undertaker and Triple H at WrestleMania, especially when Triple H whacked Undertaker in the head with a chair.
Yeah. Never thought we'd see that.
Yeah. Even though they both got fined a bunch of money.
Yeah, I'm sure it was that much money. We don't even know how much the fine was for.
Eh. Still, the headshots are banned, and
well, yeah.
Even though it was a protected headshot in a very big match situation, and it was the first time we had seen a headshot since 2009, and it fit. It perfectly fit the story of the match.
But
why won't you die?
We have our third Christian lobbying for someone to have his back promo. This one is the funniest.
Definitely.
He tries to appeal to Sheamus with a potato. And Sheamus fibs, says Christian can count on him, and he's like, Christian is like, great man, great, I got a bag of potatoes for you. 25,000 now, 100,000 after the job gets done. And
then Sheamus he looks down at the potato with an uncertain look, takes a big chomp out of the potato. I don't know why he would, even though he's Irish. Because
he's Irish. We love our potatoes.
Even though raw potatoes taste like shit. And then...
Not the Irish.
Yeah. And then not yet at least. And then he spits out the potato and he says, this isn't from Ireland. It's from Idaho.
Which... Very Simpsons. Very in its absurdity.
Well, Sheamus spits in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Yeah, I don't want to introduce that. The fact that he didn't go to TNA disappointed me.
Well, I think
Carlito
didn't go to TNA because he failed a drug test again.
He didn't go to TNA because they were going to give him a theme that sounded like, Carlito!
Yeah, that's Rob Van Dam's theme.
Yeah.
It's literally Rob Van Dam's theme.
Why not? That's a good idea. They could be a tag team.
Then after this, we get Great Khali versus the SmackDown version of the Black Holes of Charisma, Jinder Mahal. Don't give one fuck about
Jinder
this
Mahal
match.
is immortal.
Why the fuck are people thinking that Jinder Mahal has any kind of credibility?
Well, they're not, because he's getting unequivocally beaten in every single situation he's in.
They still keep him on the show, though, even though he's one step away from getting go away heat.
Regardless of TV time, they bring him on the show to job him, which is pretty clear that like he failed them.
Especially since they're jobbing him to Khali.
Yeah. So now there's no angle with them. Nobody gives a shit. Mahal, the sooner he gets FCW'd, the better. But nonetheless, I'm not opposed to seeing him beaten halfway across the
classic.
After this commercial, Sin Cara versus what Camel Clutch Blog calls now the American Disappointment, Daniel Bryan.
That's not very nice.
No, it's because has he won one match since becoming Mr. Money in the Bank?
I think once the week after.
Most of the time, he's getting the shit kicked out of him by Hunico.
I think he beat Ted DiBiase.
Which isn't necessarily that big of an achievement in and of itself. But regardless, Daniel Bryan comes out. I really wish that he still had Ride of the Valkyries.
Hey, Big Epic thing is pretty epic and big.
Yeah. And the Sin Cara this week is the human Botchamania himself, Mystico. They have an okay match. There's some blown spots in there. I don't remember which because any Sin Cara spot can be a blown spot. Once again, it's much too short of a match for my taste. The finish of the match is Mystico goes up on the top rope for some reason, and then Hunico interferes, pushes Mystico off of the ropes, off the turnbuckle, Swanton bomb, and then he gets the pin. Your winner, Sin Cara.
Hooray!
Who cares? I honestly couldn't give two shits about the fact that Daniel Bryan is jobbing because it's usually a good match and like three times out of four it's against someone who's in the main event. Basically just means, hey, match up with this guy that we find reliable. Let's see if you could have a good long match with him, and he has.
Here's the problem with this though. They explicitly stated that Daniel Bryan is waiting until WrestleMania to cash in Mr. Money in the Bank. And suppose that he does win at WrestleMania and becomes World Heavyweight Champion. He will, with the build, if they keep continuing this build that they're doing with him now, this non-build of him getting beaten every week, then he's going to be another name in the list of non-champions that people didn't really give a shit about, like Jack Swagger and Sheamus at first, and yeah, it's saddening.
As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't really need the World Heavyweight Championship, and he's probably going to win it eventually, being how reliable he's going to be for the company and is for the company. But like, he's going through a jobbing phase. It doesn't really matter. Considering they trademarked a phrase that could very much be associated to him, like he's going to get his push. They're just leaving it aside for now because they're dealing with Mark Henry, they're dealing with Cody Rhodes, and
I honestly wish that. I wish he wouldn't job so much. I mean, granted, he beat Heath Slater at Ned Champion's dark match, of course, but
Didn't he win Did he win at SummerSlam against Wade Barrett? I don't remember.
No.
Well, no, he didn't. He did not. He lost. Well, like I said, I just wish I know what they're doing, and it's pretty obvious. It's basically they're just taking a guy they gave a big push, and they're basically just giving him this item that he's going to cash in at WrestleMania, and then they basically elevated him a level, so now they're going to try and bring him down to bring other guys up. So that's essentially what they're doing. And unfortunately, it's a long, long time before WrestleMania.
They're really saying like, oh, we have enough time for him to start recovering and start building an aura around him. They're not jumping the gun to do it.
Pretty much.
I mean, for all we know, like, this could continue until the Royal Rumble, and then he'll have a showing in which he doesn't win the Rumble, but he's like the last person in the ring, or something along those lines. He lasts very long. Well, one doesn't know, but you're right. They're kind of bringing him down to build other people up. Like, I knew that as soon as Hunico turned heel on him, he was not going to be winning the matches because they were going to have to build Hunico up as a heel. But
yeah,
Christian tries to get into Randy Orton's locker, and Zack Ryder comes out, talking about like being on Raw with Hugh Jackman, and he gets a call from him. Yeah.
The interesting thing to point out about it, though, is that Christian was outside of Randy Orton's locker room and knocks the door and very quickly sort of walks away, giving the implication that he was going to try and get Randy Orton's help in the lumberjack match.
Of course. But Randy, of course, wasn't even out there.
Yeah.
After this, we have match number 7, Air Boom versus the Usos, who somehow managed to get a reaction.
Not only that, but one of them got fatter.
Yeah.
Went up to his
Notice how, despite them apparently being twins, I think, only one of them, the fat one, has any kind of facial resemblance to Rikishi.
I thought they looked pretty similar. Always, except for, granted, one's fatter now.
Although I found it hilarious during this match that it was either Booker or Josh that said that the best way to tell apart the two of them is because Jay has a tattoo on his chest. Yes, and
right.
Jay
They've
is
been saying that for weeks.
Jay is significantly heavier than Jimmy.
Yeah.
One of them probably told him to gain weight. Or
went
backstage.
They probably listened to Booker T on
something else about Booker.
Commentary.
Something else about Booker in the last match. He kept saying that you can tell the original Sin Cara from the other Sin Cara because the original Sin Cara has a black mark on his boots. I did not see a black mark on his boots.
Nor did I.
It's on the bottom of it, clearly.
I'm sure Booker's just seeing things.
Well, it's Booker, and there's a reason there's an inane Black Snow commentary section of Botchamania.
Which people seem to fucking keep thinking they're correcting a typo by saying insane Black Snow commentary. That for some reason that never ends. But we're going off on tangents here.
Anyway, this was
the return to the tangent.
I really liked this match, and I really hated the Usos when they debuted. I wanted nothing to do with them. Granted, when they debuted, all they did was super fly splashes. Yeah, they did. They just
always good wrestlers.
Tamina was the one that did that.
No. What they did was they'd ambush the Hart Dynasty after one of their tag team matches, and then they'd beat them up, and then they'd set them all up, and they'd each do a Superfly splash on one member of the Hart Dynasty. They did this 3 times, and then they finally had a match. And then what they did was very unimpactful. Their finisher was the Ali Uso, which I like the move, but as a finisher, it's just it's a Samoan drop.
Yes, and then Tamina got taken away from them to date Santino Marella.
Yeah, they had that little thing.
And then
I don't even think that Usos got a title shot in that whole time.
Yes, and then it's like when Crime Time won a shot at the World Tag Titles and never got it.
It's a conspiracy.
Maybe they were afraid that Crime Time would steal the belts. Who knows? But the thing also with the Usos is that I'm surprised that they got a reaction this time around. Maybe only just for that Polynesian war dance they did at the start.
They were in time much better than they usually are.
Yeah.
They probably practiced it a lot.
Yeah, and also, it's mainly just because of the fact that when they were on Raw, every time they would bring them out for a match, they got a negative reaction. Like people would leave the ring.
Well, that's because they've been healed before and used to such a weak effect that nobody really gave it.
It was like watching a Divas match.
And they were kind of small. And they worked this kind of generic, like just FCW style.
And they were just a bunch of nerds, and they're vegan dweebs, and they probably don't even own a television.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you look at them, there's
people had to do submission moves on YouTube.
When they were cutting promos, like nobody got what their gimmick was. Like their gimmick was that they were Samoan, but they were like classy too. And like they're not like the wild Samoans of the past. And like I don't know how Vince even okayed this. Maybe he wasn't paying attention to this because every single Samoan he's had except for The Rock was pretty much like the wild Samoan gimmick.
Well, Rikishi
Rikishi sort of.
Well, The Rock was
he was crazy wild.
The Rock was
plus after a while they never really did a Samoan gimmick with The Rock. Maybe at the start when he was Rocky Maivia.
Oh God!
After a while. Yeah, after a while, they just sort of downplayed The Rock's Samoanness.
They didn't have him wear that
headdress
with all
that fucking hair that he had.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God!
Oh my God, the Flex Cabana hair.
That although his sideburns in the '90s kind of rocked.
Nah, a little bit too Elvis-y. I think they've downplayed that look as much as they can.
Anyone notice something I noticed about The Rock? Because like I said earlier that I was watching a lot of like Attitude Era stuff earlier, and between early 1999 and late 1999, he completely changed his tone of speaking. Like when his Nation of Domination voice was like a very deep kind of like, I'm The Rock, and I will, The Rock says, la-di-da. And then after a while, his voice just got higher.
Grooving, just breaking into it, really.
Yeah.
Like,
I would attribute it to that as well. Like, I would attribute it to Vince Russo telling him what to do. I think Vince Russo just really, really helped him come into his own. With his excellent writing skills and genius. I don't think The Rock would be nowhere without Vince Russo.
Yes, because as we all know, the only reason the WWF ever had any success in 1998 and 1999 was because of Vince fucking Russo.
Vic Venom.
Yes. Well,
It really sounds like you're saying that negatively. I really think.
Who can remember such wonderful moments as Mankind asking The Rock to marry him?
That really sticks out as one of the key points of Raw in my life.
Because crazy equals romantic homosexuality. I don't. Yeah. Pretty much what Vince Russo thought about everything.
Yeah. Okay, Kofi and we did not talk at all about this match.
Well, because they went to commercial, and so did we.
It was Jay hits like all these great kicks.
There was a super kick in this, which I really liked.
A savate kick. Like the thing where you kind of lean, you kind of do.
You twist your back and
yeah. That's what it is. But nonetheless, it ended with the shooting star press. The fucking Trouble in Paradise.
Trouble in Paradise to shooting star press. Yeah, it was a good match. I really think the Usos have improved. I mean, they were off TV for I want to say 4 months, maybe longer.
About that.
I think one occasion with Job on Superstars, but that's about it.
I remember them on Raw once, and that was the first time that they did the war dance stuff.
Right.
Then they go to commercial, and now we get a lumberjack match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Christian and Mark Henry.
Sheamus sends Christian back into the ring, and he loses.
Okay. I was gonna say there wasn't much to talk about in the match, but geez,
that's kind of pushing it.
I'm being dismissive, ain't I?
The most that really sticks out in my mind about this match was was Ezekiel Jackson feigning allegiance and then immediately kneeing Christian in the nuts and then throwing him back in the ring, and then Mark Henry picking up Trent Beretta and throwing him into everyone else.
Oh shit!
Okay, and then
yeah, no, sorry, my the chair I was sitting in almost fell apart.
Blooper
Don't
reel.
ask.
Is your chair made out of
I was falling, man.
Your chair was
falling.
put back together by the ECW ring crew.
Oh God. Okay. Well, Mark Henry retained his title. I thought the end of the match was good. I thought the end of the match was good with having Sheamus come out and throwing Christian back in, because we all know Christian was not going to get a world title shot, and we all know they're trying to further the feud between Henry and Orton, at least until Hell in a Cell, possibly through Vengeance. And so that just means that they have another match for Christian and Sheamus. Well, a match for Christian and Sheamus actually have, because they didn't have one at Night of Champions. So now they have one at Hell in a Cell. So that'll further them, and basically Sheamus essentially screwed Christian out of winning the title, I guess you could say. I mean, he didn't really screw him out of it. He just kind of did his job, technically.
And then Mark Henry does what I will admit is the best-looking World's Strongest Slam I've seen from him. Like, he jumped when he did it.
Nice.
I think he's added that a little bit, but it's usually what he does is he falls to his knees.
Yeah, but like this one, he picked him up and he splashed down.
Right.
Well, Trent Beretta was a pivotal part of the match where he took out a lot of the lumberjacks on the outside thanks to Christian.
Oh yes, he got what is it? Henry came out and he threw him.
What a maneuver!
Right at the lumberjacks. I figured they're really trying to work this World's Strongest gimmick with Mark Henry, and you know what? I'm perfectly fine with him having the title. I have no problem with it. It's something different. Two, you know what? A lot of people say that he's been there 15 years, whatever. Well, you know what? Sometimes the later careers are even better for them than the beginning of their careers.
Yeah, it's true. Honestly, though, in my, like I said this during the Night of Champions review, I'm kind of not so much numb. Nor really apathetic. I'm kind of okay with Mark Henry being champion. Like, I wasn't okay with Kane, but I'm kind of okay with Mark Henry being champion right now.
It's certainly a break. It's certainly a good break in the monotony of having Randy Orton be the champion.
I was perfectly fine. Like, a lot of people said there was no way that Mark Henry was going to win at Night of Champions. I said there's actually a possibility, and I think it might happen.
Yeah, so did I.
I don't know how high the percentage would be, but I would say it's not like it's above. I would say it's at least 50. I would say at least a coin toss.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that there was a window for it. Like, I don't know why everyone was saying Randy Orton is definitely going to win.
I mean, if that's how
I honestly thought that there was more of a chance of Del Rio losing than fucking Mark Henry. Like, I thought that,
am exactly the opposite. I thought Del Rio was going to retain no problem.
Yeah, me too.
Same here. But then I'm pretty sure that absolutely nobody thought that both Mark Henry would win and Del Rio would lose.
I kind of dreaded the outcome. Like, when Mark Henry won, I was like, oh my god, does this mean that they're going to have a face become champion? A face, in this case, John Cena.
Yeah. But I think that's so weird, seeing as they look at both of their brands as different, like, wrestling companies.
Who cares?
I know.
Speaking of Orton, actually, and
brand separations.
Speak about Orton and
about Orton.
I just looked it up on Wikipedia. Okay. I just looked it up on Wikipedia, and Orton is one title away from being a 10-time champion.
Okay. He'll maybe, I don't care. It's a number.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it's unfortunate that Cena's probably going to break Flair's record, but whatever.
Who cares
at this point?
Flair's already fucking broken his reputation. Who cares if his record's broken?
I think it's just a point of when he actually did hold the titles.
It's like,
They
I
actually meant something.
I don't find it egregious that Bret Hart hasn't won it 20 times or Steve Austin hasn't won it nearly as much, because, like, their career is more than made up for it from their draws to their matches to their ability to put other people over, so.
The problem with this stuff is that there have been, I think it's like, I can't remember what it was, but John Cena's held the title 7 times in the past 2.5 years.
That is quite.
That's ridiculous.
For just in individual purposes, yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
The guy who's closest to him next is like Orton. I can't remember, because I know there was an image made of this. Darn it, where was it in Funny Wrestling Pictures? I'm trying to find this, because I know I posted it, and it's probably on the other page 5. Yeah, I know this is very boring, but nope, it's page 4. Okay.
We're kind of getting off into a tangent about.
Yeah, we suck. But anyway, the titles mean nothing, and I mean, granted, I guess if you were never a mark for yourself, then of course they always meant nothing. But yeah.
So that concludes the WWE This Week in Cable TV Wrestling. What does everyone think of it?
It was good. I didn't quite like Night of Champions, but this was a good rebound. They proved that they still have good people that they could work with. They just didn't utilize them in the past pay-per-view.
Night of Champions. Oh, no. I'll go with you. Okay. Night of Champions I was very down on, just because I didn't really like any of the results. Except for Save Mark Henry. I did like that match. I did like the result of Cody versus Ted, but of course the match was extremely forgettable, and that's why I didn't really care for the match. I also did like the opening match, which is Air Boom versus versus Awesome Truth. That was good. The finish was great, and that's how they should have done it. I was hoping they'd continue the storyline later on, but of course, they're fired unless they pull a Cena and only fire them for like a week, and they're not really fired.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Leave them off until like.
Oh, give them an outsider role.
Give them until Vengeance, I'd say.
Yeah, Vengeance at earliest, honestly.
Yeah, Vengeance at earliest.
Survivor Series latest.
Yes.
And then I also did like the Fatal 4-Way. I thought the Fatal 4-Way was probably match of the night.
Good. No, there were good matches. It's just like a lot of them I really didn't care about, and the results kind of made.
And of course, the Divas match, of course, pissed me off.
Yeah, with me, I thought that the week was overall kind of good.
It was decent.
Yeah, the Night of Champions I liked match-wise for the most part. Some of the results were kind of stupid, like John Cena winning again, and the overbooked mess that was the ending of the Triple H CM Punk match. Raw, I liked. SmackDown, I liked, even though I thought that the match times on both shows were kind of...
Yeah, there were 8 matches on SmackDown.
And there was probably only maybe 25 minutes of wrestling total.
That's 8 matches.
It's still better than TNA's, 6 minutes of wrestling in a 3-hour show.
Well, yeah, I've been looking back at old WCW, and sometimes they'd have like nitros with 10 matches on it. I'm like, how do you even fit this in there?
Yeah, like that's because some of them were 3 hours, weren't they?
Yeah, they had.
No, I'm looking before they went to 3-hour nitros.
Yeah, that was on behalf of the Dark Match. I'm sorry we couldn't get a Tina episode, but
Tina episode?
we did what we could.
A Tina episode?
Tina.
An episode.
A Mike Tina on Tina.
Yeah. So considering that Zack Ryder got some decent screen time this week, who would be a good candidate for who got more screen time than insert wrestler name here?
Johnny Curtis.
No.
I like Johnny Curtis.
Why? What are you drinking?
Milk?
I'm not drinking nothing.
Wait, here's one. Who got more screen time than Derek Bateman?
Oh, fuck him. He's become so unappealing since he became a heel.
Yeah, he's dating
He's a heel
Maxine.
now? He's a heel now?
I watched NXT, and there will be a return of Jobbers Need Love too.
Okay, good.
There will be a return. I watched NXT. I didn't understand what was going on, but I watched it, and I think everyone's a heel in the show, or at least a tweener or something. But
I'll do this just to make Tifa's mad. What gets more screen time than Caval?
Eve Torres' sneaky roll-ups got more screen time than Caval.
Austin Aries' roll-ups that look like they're supposed to have leverage, but are leveraging off of thin air, have more screen time than Caval, because we spoke about TNA also.
Ring of Honor's first TV taping got more screen time than Caval.
And Jay Lethal was in it, incidentally enough.
I was watching. I'm watching it right now. Jay Lethal just did an interview.
Glad to see you get semi-national exposure there, Jay Lethal, on a much more reputable.
Claudio's doing his UFO.
Hey,
that'll do it all for this week of the Dark Match. I am the fat one, Subrick.
I'm Christopher says, also a fat computer mark. Thank you, Gunner.
I'm the Arrow, and I'm actually in shape, and can do physical activities.
I can do physical activities.
Good night, everybody!
Just fat.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.